All right. So in looking at this problem, they gave you an equation to use, okay, for this ride. They said that it's modeled by the height is negative 16t squared plus VO, which is the initial velocity, times t plus 91, the height of the original starting point. And it's asking you to find the initial velocity, knowing that the maximum value of h, the maximum, remember, h is your y-coordinate, t is your x-coordinate, right? So think about that. So you have t, h are your ordered pair. And so it's saying that the maximum value of h, or the y-coordinate of your vertex, is 1081. So what you want to do is you want to find what is this VO, this initial velocity value. Okay, so in order for us to do that, what we need to do is we need to, we can't have this equation written in two different variables, h's and t's. Okay, so we need to get rid of one of, or the VOs and the t's and the h's. So we need to get rid of those. So we know that we're going to solve for the vertex that's given as the h value, 1081, at a given time where the initial, or we want to solve for that initial velocity, right? So we want to solve this equation. But here's our equation. We have two variables, the initial velocity and the time t. So we need to get rid of one of those and write the other in terms of that. So if we take a look at this original equation right here, we can identify that we're dealing with the vertex here. So the vertex has a given x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. We know the y-coordinate. To find the x-coordinate, we can just use negative b over 2a. Right? That's one of the ways that we can find the x-coordinate of the vertex. And so when we look at our original equation, here's our b value. So we simply substitute in initial velocity for b over 2. And what's our a value? The coefficient of the squared term, negative 16. So what we can do is we can replace, this is our t, we can replace the x-coordinate or the t-coordinate of our vertex with this value. Here the negatives cancel, and we get VO over 32. So that is our t value at our maximum. Okay, so the maximum point is located at t and then 1081. Well, t we see is VO over 32. Okay, so all we need to do to solve this is to plug in VO over 32 for each of these t's and solve for VO. Okay, so if we take that equation, 1081 is equal to negative 16, plug in VO over 32 squared plus VO times VO over 32 plus 921. And we're going to solve that for VO. And I'm just going to replace it when I type this into my calculator. I'm going to replace VO with x so I don't have to type as much. But that's the equation I'm using. So 1081 is equal to negative 16 times the quantity x over 32 squared plus x times the quantity x over 32 plus 921, and I want to solve that for x. And once I do this, I know I want the decimal value for this. I'm going to hit the green diamond button, and when I find it is that my x value, remember x for this is t, so the t, oops, I'm sorry, the value that I'm solving for, the x value, which is initial velocity, right here, is given as 101.193 approximately. And so that's my answer for problem 74. And this is in, it's a velocity, initial velocity, feet per second. And so if I move to the second part of this question, it's to compare how much time should it take based on these findings for the ride to take. And it says that it takes 2 seconds. Okay. But let's see if we plug this initial velocity in and find out what we actually get. So in looking at that problem, if we took our height of 1081, set it equal to negative 16t squared plus, we substitute this value in for our initial velocity, and then solve for the t value, it'll tell you how much time it actually takes. And so in setting this up, we'll solve for t, and we can just plug it right in. So we use the solve feature. 1081 is equal to negative 16t squared plus, now if I go up and I highlight this, I can go ahead and just keep as much as accurate as possible for my number. Just get rid of the x equals. So here's my initial velocity times t plus my 921, comma t tells me, or tells the calculator that I want it to solve for t. I have a decimal in my answer, so it's going to give me a decimal when I hit enter, and I get my time. The time is either going to be 3.16 or 3.16, so it's pretty consistent as far as that goes. Probably just slightly off, but our answer, depending on what they want you to round it to, is 316.